Now we get to the main card, baby. Sadly, it doesn't start off with another knucklehead. Kyle the Monster Nelson couldn't get his visa in time. We can't start with him on this card, and we don't have a line yet with his replacement, Juicy J. Arosa. But we are going to start with that fight. Welcome to Odds.com's breakdown of the main card, Vegas Fight Night for Poirier Hooker. We got our guys, Boston Nick, Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, and Big Mo in the house. Let's get to this catchweight bout. 6'2" American Sean, the Sniper Woodson, undefeated pro MMA record 7-0-0, going up against Juicy J. Arosa, Yakima's finest. I've never said that in my life. Yakima's finest. Right here in Juicy J. Arosa. We don't have a line. Let's start with Clint. What is your expectations of this line, and will you be making a move once it pops off?
Jimmy, Yakima's finest is 0-3 in his last 3 fights, and 2 of those have been finished, my buddy. You don't need to say Yakima's finest. This is going to be a -750, -800 for Woodson here. He had a legit Canuck in Kyle the Monster Nelson in front of him. I'm a big fan of that guy, and I was really looking forward to seeing that fight. But Woodson is just going to be way too much for Juicy J. Arosa is bad and doesn't belong at the UFC level. And Woodson's just huge, man. He's another one of these guys. He's like Pena 2.0. He's big, he's long, he's got the reach, but he actually knows what to do with it. This dude was 46-3 as an amateur boxer before going pro in MMA. So the only issue that he has is his ground game, and he's working hard on that. His takedown defense is pretty solid, and he's got those long-ass legs, so it's really hard to take him down. I don't see any path to victory here for Juicy J, especially coming in on, 5 days notice? I mean, this is going to be Woodson all day. The problem is that line's going to be completely unplayable.
What's your first guess? Your first
800, -800?
I'm going to guess -550.
Whew, shit.
If it opens -550, it'll be -800 in about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Wow. Big Mo, what do you think of this? Is this just a slam dunk piece? Is it going to be the odds going to be too ridiculous to even use it as a parlay piece?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy. First off, the Sniper, what's his nickname? Mr. What's his nickname?
The
Juicy
Sniper,
J.
yeah.
Yeah, the Sniper. They call him the Sniper for a reason, right? So in the original matchup, just like Clint said, there was a chance for Nelson. He was going to come in, he was going to throw some bombs, try to clinch, press him up against the cage, and work the takedowns just like Kyle Bochniak tried to do it. Kyle Nelson's a little bit stronger, a little bit better of a grappler, so there was a chance he might have got it there. But Juicy J is going to stand up and fight with you. First off, your name's Juicy J, bro. Come on. So he's gonna stand up and strike with him, and Woodson's on another level. 46-3 amateur boxing, feints a lot of uppercuts, a lot of feints, real long, lanky. I can see him finishing them, I don't know, probably first round. If at all you're going to play this at all, you're going to have to pick like what round, how he does it, within the first 60 seconds. You're going to have to pick some crazy kind of stuff to even for it to even be playable at all.
Yeah.
Boston Nick, is there any kind of angle here?
I guess we all think he's long and lanky, Woodson. He's got great movement, great leg kicks. Reminds me he's a little bit O'Malley-ish, how he constantly switches stances and is able to pump a jab out in overhand right or left out from each stance. He's very, very hard to take down. And if you do take him down, he just scoots to the fence and gets right back up. I was on Woodson in this fight against the Ginger Nelson, because another redhead, right? Somewhat of a redhead, I would call him. I didn't like the line. I was going to try to look at a prop bet, maybe by decision or something like that. But now he's not fighting him anymore. So it's Juicy J. And that being said, I'm going to look for like what Mo said, maybe some sort of like second or third round finish. And if it's juicy enough, I'll jump on it. But it's Woodson or pass. You can't take Julian Arosa. He's, 4-fight losing streak, Clint?
3-fight losing streak. Won his UFC debut, and since then it's been all downhill.
What do you think of our man Gabe Killian in the chat saying Woodson inside the distance is a safe play? Woodson has no KO power.
He's saying not Woodson inside the distance.
Oh, at -2. Wow, Woodson inside the distance at -242. Is that what it is? Is that really the odds?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
Woodson by decision -242. He's saying. Is that what he's saying? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But
so basically, what that prop means is any result besides Woodson inside the distance. So Juicy J could win by knockout. Juicy J could win by submission. Woodson could sub. Woodson could win by decision. Just anything but Woodson by knockout.
Gotcha.
I feel you.
The only thing for me, though, is Juicy J has been knocked out twice in his last 3 fights. And Woodson might not have a ton of KO power, but he's a volume dude. And this guy's coming in late. I think that KO threat is there more so than it would normally be in this particular fight just because of the late fill-in.
Yep, that step-in knee that he has, oh, man, I could see Rosa, after getting caught with a couple punches, try to shoot for a takedown, just catching that knee right in the chin and dropping.
He's like 8 feet tall. That step-in knee is going to crack your chin. It doesn't matter how you're coming in.
Yeah, and he just stays at his range, and he's so long. It showed against Botniak, he landed 7.4 significant strikes per minute. So he's just staying at his range, going left to right, popping them when he wants to, and he just hits you with so much volume that he could finish you that way.
And his cardio is off the chain too. He can go all 3 rounds. I mean, against Kyle Botniak, I believe he stood all 3 rounds in between rounds.
Yeah.
So.
Well, too bad that the monster couldn't get his visa in time. Sports Gambling Daily watching us live at the Westgate. Respect to Sports Gambling Daily. Thank you,
my boy.
My friend. All right, let's move on to a heavyweight bout. This is the second fight on the main card this Saturday. UFC Vegas for Poirier Hooker. 6'3" American Gian Vellante. 17-11-0 pro MMA record. Sitting at plus 188. That was the opening line at Bet365. Still at plus 188. Going up against a much bigger opponent. 6'7" American Maurice, the Crochet.
Woo! Boss. Nailed it, Jimmy. Nailed it, brother.
I thought it was crotchet. Whatever.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there was some other meaning for crotchet in the clink. Because the Crochet boss Greene 8-5-0 minus 225, 6'7", huge advantages all over the place for the Crochet boss. Quincy Brown says the Crochet boss knockout incoming. Let's ask our man Big Mo, what's the move here?
Yeah, I don't like how big of a favorite my man the Crochet or the Crockett boss is. But, I mean, he has more options. He has a lot more arsenal, a lot more weapons in his arsenal as far as head kicks. He can grapple a little bit. If he gets off his back, he has some submissions. A lot longer, a lot more lanky, as we like to say. But just it's more about who he's fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's Gian Vellante. My man comes out, throws 2 shots at a time, doesn't really cut the cage off well. Gets hit to the body a lot. He's just a real low volume. He gets hit. He absorbs 6.43 strikes per minute. So he's kind of like a punching bag, gets hit a couple times to throw one back. I think if you're going to pick the Crockett boss, it's going to be now. And I don't know how you would play him. And I'm not just super confident because it's him. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen his eyes. One eye's looking that way and the other eye's looking at you.
Yeah.
So
that's what it means. The crooked eye. I get it.
That's it. You're on to something, Jimmy.
Crooked eye. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it means. I don't know if you've seen a picture of him, but on the Ultimate Fighter, just a little side, he was drinking brews and smoking cigarettes in between rounds. So my man is nope, it's given. But I think right here you pick the Crockett boss, Jimmy.
Just my 2 cents is I hate this fight. Picking Mo Greene, but it's probably my least confident. Boston Nick, is there a move to make here? Are you making a move?
I'm stunned. I'm actually still breaking down a Gian Vellante fight. Right, Clinton? This is kind of crazy that Gian Vellante is still in the picture here at the UFC.
It's a little wild.
Right? It feels like the UFC is reaching a bit here, understandably so. It's COVID right now, so they're looking for fighters. If you haven't seen Vellante's fight, if you have seen Vellante fight once, you've seen him fight every single time. He has not improved. He does the same thing every single time. He's not a volume striker, more of like a 1-2 type guy. Honestly, it's green or pass. I know it sounds funny. I mean, Greene's got an 82-inch reach. That is an 8-inch reach advantage, or excuse me, 6-inch reach advantage on Vellante. Not to mention, I believe Mo Greene can also take him down at will as well. Yeah, Vellante is Weidman's best friend and whatnot, but just because you're Chris Weidman's best friend doesn't mean you're going to accumulate all his, you know what I mean? So that being said, it's Mo Greene or pass. I would put Mo Greene in a parlay. I think he's a parlay piece, but I wouldn't stack units on it. You know what I mean? That'd be something you want a little bit of action. Parlay with something that you're comfortable with. I cannot bet Gian Vellante. You could listen. I wouldn't bet Gian Vellante with my worst enemy's money. Well, maybe my worst enemy's money. Yeah, I would. But other than that, no, I would not bet Gian Vellante. Sorry, not happening.
Gabriel Killian says Vellante actually has solid technique in his kickboxing. Is there any angle for Vellante? Is there any angle for this fight, Clint?
So, Jimmy, Vellante has been up and down in his UFC career, alternating wins and losses. Those wins have recently been coming by split decision. So kind of like my boy Boston said, he's just barely hanging on to that UFC roster spot. But if you can believe it, back in the day, he seemed like a prospect. He knocked out Corey freaking Anderson.
Yep.
Like, we thought this guy was something. I don't know what happened, but he just doesn't seem to be that guy anymore. I don't know if he was on the juice and maybe USADA got him and now he doesn't have that pop on his punches or what. I am not sure. So he's one of these mid-tier, mid-level talent type of dudes. And being at the height and reach disadvantage he's going to be at with the Crochet Boss, I don't personally see him getting it done. I can't take either side, though. I don't think that Crochet Boss is a guy that you want to trust with your money in like a big parlay or something like that. There are better spots to me.
His only wins the last 3.5 years, are to Ed Herman, okay, which was a split decision, and then Francisco Barroso, who is no longer with the company anymore. He's over at PFL, doing well, but over at PFL. Okay, it's not the UFC. So
yeah, but the Crochet Boss got knocked out by Sergey Pavlovich. He got subbed out by old man Alexei, which there's no shame in that because we all know what Alexei does.
Yep.
But he gassed out hard in the second round of that fight, allowing Alexei to get that thing done. And he's only beaten Jeff Hughes and Junior Albini. Not a great level of competition himself either. So this is a sloppy heavyweight fight, and I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to put my money on either of these guys. I especially don't want to put my money on Greene at this favorite chalky line. And Gian Vellante, we've seen people who move up from light heavyweight to heavyweight carry a whole bunch more power. Look at Daniel Cormier. I mean, I know obviously that's a different caliber of fighter, but we've seen it happen when they're not cutting weight. They've got that extra pop. They've got some extra weight moving around. So there's a decent chance he is improved here. I'm just not touching it. This is another fireball and popcorn type of fight.
I had that written down as well. Fireball and popcorn right here.
All right, well, let's move on to the next bout. The
Real
third
quick, 189 people watching. I appreciate every single one of you. We all do. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We have so many incredible cappers in the chat as well as on the screen. It's great. Working together to defeat the juice. Let's move on to the middleweight bout. 6'2" American Brendan All-In Allen. 14-3-0 pro record, opens up as a big favorite -300, now at -275. So slight move towards the 6'3" American Kyle Daukaus, undefeated professional MMA record, but a big dog here. Boston Nick, All-In Allen up against.
I want to go last year because I really need these guys' take on this one. I've been really struggling here on this fight.
Let's move right over to Clint. What do you think here? All-In Allen, Kyle Daukaus.
This is a sleeper. Jimmy, if this one wasn't on Hooker versus Poirier, this could be a fight of the night contender. Both of these guys are submission, ground game wizards. The new kid is undefeated stepping into the cage. Brendan Allen is a guy who is potentially going to be in the top 10 very, very soon. Both of these guys are legit. Both these guys can sweep. They can reverse. They can take the backs. I mean, these guys are phenomenal. Both of them. And I think the favorite line is simply here because you got to respect what Brendan Allen has done in the UFC so far. He choked out my dude, Kevin Holland, and I'm extremely high on Holland, so that speaks volumes here to me. I like Brendan Allen. I just hate this price tag because he's fighting a guy that can flip the tables on him in his best spot. When they get into the same world, these guys are potentially on the same level. We don't know for sure about Daukaus yet, but from what I've seen, he's phenomenal on the mat. Brendan Allen's striking has come a long way. His kicks are looking good, but I don't think he's going to be so good that he'll put this guy away on the feet early or anything like that. I'm hoping for a scramble fest, Jimmy. This is one that I'm looking forward to as a jiu-jitsu practitioner myself. I think I'm going to have some fun watching this one, but I can't put any money on it again. I don't like the line on either side. Wouldn't blame you for taking the shot on Daukaus because he stands a chance for that sub shot. And really, what are these judges going to know about grappling? If this takes place jiu-jitsu style on the mat the entire time, these guys are flip-flopping all over, getting reversed, getting swept, changing position. Judges aren't going to know how to score that.
Game Day says Daukaus debuting in a tough spot. This is a comfortable win for All In Allen. Let's hear what Big Mo has to say. All In Allen versus Kyle Daukaus.
So just looking at it, right, you look at it, I'm thinking, boom, I'm on Brendan Allen. I'm going to go look at this Daukaus character, right? You pull up some footage and you start watching. Real tall, lanky guy. Striking is not his expertise. He is a grappler, but his striking doesn't look horrible. Good straight punches, good little flurries, good combos, pretty decent kicks, like a decent kicking game. But where he thrives is on the mat. So then you look at Allen. When Allen walks forward, he's just walking forward. He doesn't care what you got to have, what you have for him. Boom, he's coming. Throwing hooks. I can see Daukaus pop a little bit there. But where I see the hole in Allen's game is when he gets on top, just like with Holland. I don't remember where else I saw it. But, hey, he gets swept a lot. Like, he doesn't have really good top control. So just like Clint said, I can see a lot of scrambles in this fight. I think this is going to be one of them grappler versus grapplers that is truly going to be a grappling match. Sometimes you see a grappler versus grappler, then it's just a stand-up fight that goes to a decision. I think this is going to be an actual grappler versus grappler where we're going to get to see transitions. And I think Daukaus is super live here. He's a darcer. He has 5 darces, 3 rear naked chokes. Brendan Allen does have a loss by rear naked choke.
Those long, skinny arms, they catch him at angles.
Yeah. So, in those scrambles, I could see Daukaus snatching something up. If Allen had better top pressure, I would be all in on Allen because then Allen could just hold him down. But he doesn't. He's not good at maintaining control, position over submission type thing. He just goes right in for it, boom, and then he gets swept. Daukaus ends up on top. Daukaus isn't somebody you want on top, it seems like. Now, I don't know if both guys have such good grappling that they're just going to cancel each other out and it's going to go to a decision and it's going to be a toss-up, so who knows type thing, or if Daukaus is going to catch him in a sub. But I don't see Allen catching him in a sub just from what I've seen. Now, can it happen? It could definitely happen. But this is that dog pick I was talking about. I think Daukaus is going to snatch up a sub in this one.
Well, they're the boys in the chat, the cappers in the chat, because we have the female cappers in the chat as well. Cappers in the chat are talking about making the under possibly the move here. Just bet on the submission either way. What do you guys think of that?
I could see this fight going the distance myself. Allen is a Contender Series prodigy. He's coming off an excellent stoppage submission. What was the second round again with Holland, right, Clint? Yeah. It's a tough one. I'm back and forth. I was original on Allen. I watched some Daukaus footage. Yeah, he's great in the scrambles. He's got a great Darce choke. And like our boy Guru said, anybody that's not great with top control is susceptible to that Darce choke. So I don't like the line on it right now. What is Allen exactly right now?
Minus 300.
Or it's down to 275 at bet 365.
Yeah, I couldn't put somebody on Allen at minus 275 with a up-and-comer Daukaus that is dangerous as well. I don't know, man. I think in the wrestling department, Allen is way better here. And if he can just keep some sort of top control for 3 rounds, take him down once or twice in the round, even once, 2 minutes top control each round, and then they're on their feet. I see Allen getting a decision win here. So my lean would be Allen by decision. I think you can get it at minus 120-ish last time I checked. But we think we have to wait for those props to drop. But I'm leaning Allen here. I'm not jumping on Daukaus just yet. I need to see him in the UFC.
I wouldn't mind that under, Jimmy. They've got it set at 1.5. You're getting plus money on the under 1.5. doesn't seem crazy to me, because if Allen is everything that he's supposed to be, he probably gets this kid out of there relatively quickly. And like Mo's talking about, this kid's live for a submission. If he's going to do that, he probably surprises Allen with something. So, I mean, if I had to make a play, that's probably the way that I'd look. Luckily, we've got an opportunity to pass on it. And like I said, I'm just going to enjoy this one because, you know me, I'm a jiu-jitsu fan, and your boy knows a thing or two about some grappling over here. Let me show you. So I'm going to look forward to this one.
There you go.
Well, we don't have real definitive moves so far on this main card, but it's co-main event time. Maybe we get one right here. Welterweight bout, 5'10" American Mike Platinum Perry. Another big favorite here, minus 300 opening at Bet365. Still there, 13-6-0 professional MMA record. Going up against 6'2" American Mickey Gall, 6'2-0 plus 240. Let's start with Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. What do you think of this, Perry Gall?
First off, I need to address Bloodthirsty MMA in the picks. And he's saying you guys got Anthony Smith as a guest. It's Ben Rothwell, son. What are you doing?
Definitely his son. Trust me.
Jimmy, this is a fight that I never knew I needed. Mickey Gall and Mike Perry. Those were two names I really never thought I would see next to each other.
Right.
And it's so weird because Mike Perry is not a guy you want to bet at favored odds. Like, you just don't want to lay that kind of chalk with this guy. He is so fun to watch, highly entertaining. He comes to fight and brawl every single time, and that's why the fans love him so much. Mickey Gall is a busted prospect. He's not improving the way that we thought he was going to. He's fought next to nobody in the UFC, and when he has fought somebody, he's lost. I don't think these guys are even in the same stratosphere. Mike Perry has been fighting extremely competitively with the high end of the division. He went to a split with Vicente Luque, and he had his moments in that fight. This is a massive, massive step down for Mike Perry. The only problem, Jimmy, is Mike Perry's lost his damn mind. He's out there with a new girlfriend, and he's calling her his god, and she's literally going to be his corner person for this fight. He doesn't have a coach. I mean, the dude's off his rocker.
It's not blonde, it's a new one?
No, he lost the Platinum Princess, bro. He broke up with Platinum Princess, and now he's got some new short little compact spinner chick that she's holding the mitts up like this for him to hit because she's so short.
Whoa, I didn't know
He
that.
has no training partner.
Okay.
So I really wanted to bet Mickey Gall in this fight. I really wanted to bet Mickey Gall in this fight because that long, long line. But if anybody's going to thrive in the chaos of this COVID situation where you don't have good training and all you got to do is step in the cage and fight, Mike Perry's your boy. He's the kind of guy that will be able to shelf all that, flip the crazy switch on, step in there and throw hands. And that's all it's going to take to beat Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall can't get out of round two without huffing air. The dude runs out of gas at about the 2-minute mark of round two every single fight. His striking is nowhere near the striking level of Mike Perry. And I think Mike Perry's going to have strong, tanky enough man strength and takedown defense to keep this fight standing or stay safe if it does hit the mat for a little bit. And unless Mike Perry is just completely off his rocker, which is totally possible, I think he's going to win this thing via late TKO. Again, I know you said that we're not giving definitive picks, but honestly, Jimmy, this is a really tough card to bet. Very. And the only way that I would really look on this fight is maybe sprinkling the round props here. If you want to take Mike Perry like in round 2 and round 3, when Mickey Gall gasses out, he cranks it up for the finish, get a nice juicy plus line on that, split a unit in half, something like that. That might be a way that you can go. But honestly, this is a straight pass. Like, there's so many questions here. There's just too many questions to put your money on this fight.
And I was saying that about the main card. You guys have real good looks all over the preliminary card. So it's just, I just mean for these first few fights as we've broken down the main card, because I love your actual
main card's tough.
Yeah. Main card so far, no real strong moves. Let's see if that changes when we go over to Big Mo, Platinum Perry, Mickey Gall.
Yeah, I think I scared old Nicky boy earlier this week, Jimmy. I was like, hey, man, Gall's live. You got to watch out. Hey, he tried to get mouthy with me a little bit. I said, hey, bro, watch you get mouthy with. But, hey, Hey, I was just playing with him, man. I mean, every single thing that Clint said, nailed it. And yeah, no, dude's done lost his mind. Yeah, he's not going to have a corner. His girl's holding mitts for him. We all done went through that. But an interview that I saw he had with Mike Quick Swick, he was talking about, hey, man, hey, with everything going on, I'm going to be listening to the commentary. I'm going to listen to his corner. I'm going to be having conversation with this guy, and he's just crazy enough to do it. If this was anybody but Mickey Gall, I would probably be fading Mike Perry. But Mickey Gall is the bottom of the barrel. They brought him in so there would be a halfway decent talent to go against CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? And they had to bring him in because their lowest person would smash CM Punk. So they had to bring somebody in that was a little bit lower than them.
And still smash CM Punk.
Yep.
Yeah, still smashed him. You know, but he tends to think he is a little kickboxer now. You know, I can see him trying to mix it up, but he's probably going to be trying to shoot blast doubles on him. And I think Mike Perry's too big, too strong. Even with no coach, I think Mike Perry is going to finish Gall. I don't think Gall makes it to a decision.
Gall's blast doubles are shit too.
Yeah. And without watching tape, you're like, hey, Gall can grapple hard, but then you go watch and you're like, oh no, he's
That's exactly what happened to me, Mo. Exactly what happened to me.
Yep.
Yeah, Mickey Gall coming off a decision win against Salim Tahari, who is 0-3 in the UFC, guys. You know what I mean? That's his last win up to date.
And it was a tough win. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Gall's claim to fame is beating Sage Northcutt. Let's get that right now. His biggest win of the day is Northcutt, who's no longer with the UFC, who just got his face reconstructed. And the other, what was it, Ryzen, wherever he's fighting? I can't remember. That being said, his other 4 wins against fighters that are not in the UFC and not UFC caliber. So, I mean, Gall's stand-up is quite bad, and he's used to getting into that clinch. In my opinion, Mike Perry is way better in wrestling, the grappling department. The only department he might not be as good as Gall in is the actual BJJ. But I think Perry will out-wrestle him. He'll grapple him. He'll put him against the cage and hit him with elbows for days. I see Perry putting Mickey Gall out of there within the distance. But within the distance, you only get him at minus 215. I just looked at it. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? That being said, maybe a TKO prop or something like that, but it wouldn't be much better than that. But I cannot bet Gall here. It's Perry in a parlay or pass for me.
Yeah, I get it. Just my 2 cents is Platinum Psycho doesn't need a legit cornerman for the likes of Gall. He doesn't listen.
It's going to be an entertaining fight, Jimmy, because I guarantee he's going to be. He talks anyway, and you hear everything echo in there now. Mm-hmm. He's going to be talking to the commentators. He's going to be talking to his girl, like, "What's up, girl?" He's going to be doing everything. It's going to be a pretty entertaining fight.
He just needs to be careful with the scrambles. That's it. That's the only thing, just in the scrambling department.
And that he don't get overconfident. That's something that's kind of popped in my mind a little bit. Like, hey, bro, let's not get too overconfident. But I think he's safe.
Yeah. Well, that's what Gabe Killian's saying. He's saying, my concern playing Perry is he can beat himself. Might take all down and get tapped. All right. That is the co-main event welterweight bout. Now it is main event time. Main event time for UFC Fight Night Vegas for a lightweight bout. 5'9" American Dustin the Diamond Poirier, ranked 3rd among lightweight contenders. Professional MMA record 25-6-0. Opens at minus 188 at Bet365, being bet to minus 210. This is Tuesday night, so we're still 5 days away, but money coming in on Poirier. Going up against the 5th-ranked lightweight contender, 6-foot New Zealander Dan the Hangman Hooker. 28 and opening up at Bet365 at plus 163. Now at plus 175. Let's go to Big Mo for the main event Saturday night. What's your move?
I don't know what everybody's thinking on this. I'll just tell you what your boy's thinking on. This is a hard fight for me to pick. You watch tape, and Hooker's a beast, man. Hooker Hooker's not a boxer. He stays at range. He fights at his range, hands down low. He's a sniper, looks for that one pot shot Pam. You know, like he's good at delivering all the power on his shot right at the end of his strike. He has nice knees up the middle. The ground game is where he's going to come into where Poirier is going to be a lot better in the grappling. You got Poirier, really good boxer. Poirier eats a lot of leg kicks. Hooker throws some hard leg kicks, and he throws them towards the calf. He even throws them towards the ankle. You have Poirier ate about, I think it's exactly 100 leg kicks in the Gaethje fight. He eats quite a bit of leg kicks. He just got done having surgery on his leg, but I think Poirier is a different level, man. I think the small cage, he's going to use his pressure, walk forward. Dan Hooker's not going to have that move. He's not going to have that room to get out of the way of Poirier. Poirier is good at cutting off the cage, pressure forward, real tight boxing, works the body well. So he's going to have Hooker guessing which way. I don't think he's going to give Hooker the space to use his range. And I'm gonna go Poirier, probably fourth round TKO.
Ooh, picking the spot for Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Let's go to Boston Nick, aka Mr. Fat Fizz. Main event time. What's your look here?
I'm loving Poirier here, and I don't like the odds. Listen, Poirier has faced the best there is in that division, and we all know that. I mean, his last loss besides Khabib, I believe, was I want to say
Michael Johnson.
There you go, right? And that was in 2016. Listen, the better boxer here is obviously Dustin Poirier. With the smaller cage, I don't think that Hooker is going to be able to use his range like he wants to. Not to mention, if Dustin wants to use his wrestling like he can, that's going to benefit him as well. So you got a smaller cage, we'll be able to get into his boxing range. You got a smaller cage, we'll be able to get into his grappling range. And if he wants to take him down, need be, he will. I really like Poirier here. I really do. I mean, Poirier's main training partner, and I listened to an interview right before we went live, a couple hours ago, and his main training partner here was Jorge Masvidal for this camp.
Yeah.
So that being said, I mean, you're training with a beast like Jorge Masvidal, and he always trains with Jorge Masvidal, but that was his main training partner for this camp. American Top Team has been open nonstop for their fighters. That's why you see ATT fighters winning more than any other camp out there right now to date, just because of their, Florida's been open. We're a little bit more lenient than others. I don't like Hooker here. I like Poirier. I like him inside the distance. I don't see this going the distance, and that's all she wrote right there. It's Dustin.
Something before Clint goes that I don't know if Clint's going to say it, but the last person to beat Gilbert Burns is who? So onward.
And real quick,
I try to throw that out there.
Hooker,
the #1 contender.
I hear you, Hooker. By the way, with the leg kicks, Justin is way, way far superior when it comes to leg kicks than Hooker. So that, yeah, I understand that part, but that's Justin Gaethje. But when it comes to Hooker in his training camp, he had 4 week locked. It was called a level 4 lockdown for half of his camp, which means he could only run on his own. He couldn't even run aside somebody. And over.
Poirier had leg surgery where he had to lay in the bed for 6 weeks and have a machine.
Yeah, he had
his leg up and down.
Yeah, hip surgery. But I mean, he admits in this interview that half his camp was running, the other half, 3 weeks of it was training with 2 people in a gym, and the other 3 weeks was actual regular training for this camp. So, where is Hooker right now? Honestly, I know where ATT is. I know exactly what they're doing every single day. I drive by that gym every day, as you know, Mo. And that being said, I know for a fact those guys are ready to fight. I know Dustin's ready to fight. I'm not so sure Hooker is in that same ballpark. I know for a fact he's not in that same ballpark when it comes to actual fighting skills. The more well-rounded guy here is definitely Dustin Poirier. So it's Dustin Poirier for me all day long. I don't see Hooker getting this done unless he knocks out or maybe submits Poirier if Poirier does try to take him down and he snatches some sort of guillotine. But he leaves that chin open, Hooker, way too much. He leaves it up in the air. And I could see Dustin just getting the boxing range and putting it to him against the fence, against the cage.
Boston Nick on the Diamond Poirier side. Clint, my man, main event time. What's your move?
Jimmy, this fight is so interesting. We could literally talk about this one fight for the length of this show. There's so much going on here to unpack. My boys did a great job of breaking down a lot of the pros and cons that I would want to mention. You've got Dustin, who's coming off his loss. He had the unification bout with Khabib, lost his strap, and there's two ways that can go. You can either come back from that hungry and improved after seeing a new level of the sport, or you can come back a broken man because you've reached your peak and you know you're never getting back there again, and now you're just on the downslide, but you don't know it until you step in the cage. So there's a little bit of a question mark with Dustin Poirier. With Dan the Hangman Hooker, this guy has been on an absolute run since he got busted up by Edson Barboza. And his last fight with Paul Felder, he barely squeaked by that thing in a split decision. Yep. His first 5-round fight. Dustin's had a whole lot of 5-round experience. Hooker does not. And Hooker arguably lost that fight with Paul Felder. I personally had a bet on Hooker that night, cashed it, and scored the fight for Paul Felder. So that was an incredibly close fight where he took a shit ton of damage, Jimmy.
Yes.
Dustin Poirier's been wars his entire career, and I know a lot of people are talking about the amount of damage this guy's taken, how he's not going to be able to hold up in there. But he fought Max Holloway in that fight of the year battle back in April of 2019. Then he fought Khabib, which he ended up getting choked out in, not a super damaging fight, in September of 2019. He's been off this entire time since. So if we're talking about a 30-year-old dude who's in his prime, taking almost a year off to recover, we probably don't have to worry too much about his durability coming back here on this one.
Yep.
Hooker on the other side of this thing just fought in February and was in the war of his life. He got hit with 110 significant strikes from Paul Felder, Jimmy. That's an absolute battle. And I know he's young. I know he's in shape, but this is a quick turnaround for his body to heal up that way. That's really my concern here. The other thing is the striking differentials. Dustin Poirier averages 5.51 significant strikes per minute and only absorbs 3.79. So he is decently outstriking his opponents by a good chunk of a margin for his entire UFC career. And that's been an absolute storied and phenomenal UFC career against the best names the UFC has to offer. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway twice, Conor McGregor. He's fought Anthony Pettis, Jim Miller. I mean, everybody, and he is outstriking them all. Hooker averages 4.76 significant strikes per minute and absorbs 4.67. This guy takes as good as he gets, and even with that height and reach advantage, he tends to strike evenly with his opponents and just looks to hit the button and cash in on his power more often than his foes do. And so far, he's been very successful at it. I'm a huge fan of Hooker. I called this guy a future title contender, and I've called him a future champion. Training out there with Israel Adesanya and the 145 king right now, Volkanovski. It seems like there's just something in the water at City Kickboxing. I almost said American Kickboxing. City Kickboxing out there in New Zealand. The kid's got all the pieces. It's just a matter of whether or not he can put it together. And what I'm seeing from all these numbers, I've got a question on Hooker's durability right now coming off of that fight. I've got a question on Dustin Poirier's motivation coming off of his last fight. There's a lot of questions here, and I think you could argue that the value is going to be on the Hooker side of this fight, that it's relatively 50-50. These guys both have a lot of experience. They've both taken a lot of damage, and the new kid, Hooker, is going to have the reach advantage, but again, he was in that war a whole lot more recently. Plus 180, I think, is a fair price. You probably have got some value there. But what I'm going to do, Jimmy, is I'm going to take a sneaky look at an alternative line. We've got the total set at 4.5 rounds right now, juiced massively to the under at minus 240. They're saying a finish is happening in this fight. Well, these two warriors have done nothing but show off their durability since they've been in the UFC. Dan Hooker went with Paul Felder to that 25-minute war zone, and he's been on a decision run with the higher level of competition since. And Dustin Poirier made it to round 3 with Khabib, which is saying something, went all 5 rounds with Max Holloway, got deep into round 4. Not deep, but he got into round 4 with Justin freaking Gaethje not that long ago. These guys surprisingly fight a decent amount of time for how much power they bring to the table. I don't think they're going to go into the center of the cage and just drop the gloves and start slugging it out, Jimmy. I'm going to take the alternate look at the over 2.5. It's minus 120, minus 125 right now. I think this fight gets into round 3. The other thing I would suggest is if you do like a fighter, I predict a late finish. So if you want to sprinkle the props, round 3, round 4, round 5, on whichever side of the line you like, I think you're going to have a much better shot at cashing a nice juicy plus line there with a low risk, high reward type of shot, because I simply don't see either one of these guys going down in rounds 1 or 2.
I like that look. I like that
I
look.
think the leg kicks are going to come into play.
Not with this small cage. He's not going to be able to plant like he wants to. I'm telling you, Dustin's going to be
We've
able to.
had this conversation every single week for like 3 weeks. It's the same cage.
Yes.
Leg kicks are leg kicks in an open stance.
It's the same cage.
That's the perfect plan for a leg kick.
For the last 3 weeks.
And every single week, it's a big leg kicker wins. So I'm on Poirier. I'm just thinking that people are overlooking Hooker's leg kicks and the type of striker that Poirier he's not striking at range. He has to get in because he's a boxer. He throws hooks. He's not throwing real long shots. He's looking big power hooks, power to the body, come back up, and he's going to have to eat leg kicks. And my man does not check leg kicks. And with the opposite stance, you got Hooker, orthodox right hand. You got Poirier, southpaw. So they're going to be playing for that outside position. And those leg kicks are going to come into play. I think Poirier is going to be able to press forward and stop a lot of that power. But I think he's going to be limping round 3, 4. That's not going to matter. I do think Gaethje throws harder leg kicks, and he made it through those and finished Gaethje in the 4th. I'm just saying go back and watch tape, how Hooker throws leg kicks. He even goes lower than the calf. He like kicks that little bone that if you stub on something,
right on the ankle,
it hurts really bad, and you're like, that's like the funny bone, but on your ankle, it hurts very bad. So I just think those are going to come into play.
He's going to be eating a right when he throws that.
Just like y'all said, Poirier's fought way better competition, and I just think he's the overall better fighter. I think he's going to go to his grappling a lot in this. A lot of like boom, 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 level change, get him against the cage, try to go to his single to double chain grapple, get him down, have him working, getting up, maybe some wrist rides, ground and pound. He almost caught Khabib in that guillotine. That's the closest we've ever seen Khabib to it facing any type of adversity was from Poirier. So he's definitely the better grappler. So I think that's where he's going to make the difference.
Both of these guys like to bank for the later rounds. Both these guys like to work the legs, work the body, try and suck out the gas tank of their opponents. But while you're doing that, it's a slow, steady pace. You're chipping away at your opponent. And I think they're both going to try to do the same thing to each other, which is why I think it gets over 2.5.
True that.
I think it does go over 2.5. I'm just worried about all this road work that he's been doing, Hooker. Like I said, half his camp has been him running uphills, he said. So,
yeah, but honestly, with his durability, in question from that last war he was in, road work might be the best thing for him to recover instead of being in there getting hit.
Very true. But then again, you still have to prepare for a certain fighter. And he said he had Kai Kara France. That was his main training partner for Dustin Poirier. That's sad. Okay.
MMA locker room, we got Mills in the building. He said he bet his lunch money on Hooker. He said my name in that, but hey, I'm over here taking up for Hooker, bro. You're talking to them, bro. All right.
All right.
Not that much.
There you have the main event lightweight bout, both Boston Nick and Big Mo over on the side of Poirier, and our man Clint taking the over 2.5 on the alternative line, over 2.5, and that's at minus 125. Rodrigo Mello says Mickey Gall will surprise Perry. Let's talk about first your favorite look on the main card from each of you. And then we will go into the question that Matthew S. dropped earlier on the show, and again, just a few minutes ago, and I will drop that. So we're 2 things. So first off, we are going to go to favorite look on the main card. Let's start with my man, Boston Nick. What's your favorite look here on this main card?
Minus 110, Dustin Poirier inside the distance. My man's getting it done.
Poirier inside the distance. All right. My man Clint started the Die Hard MMA podcast. Favorite look on this main card?
I got to go over 2.5 rounds in the main event there, Jimmy. It's my only bet. It's my only look so far on the main card. I will try to find some more, though, on my Total Madness show later in the week when I break down the totals for every single fight.
By the way, Clint, I let you have that over 2.5. I knew you were going to bet it. I know it was your best bet, so I wanted to be nice.
Would have been a real dick move. It's my only bet on the entire main card, man.
I like my Poirier bet too.
Omar Darwood says, smart bet, Clint. We are going to go over your guys' shows moving forward throughout the week because you got some hot ones coming up. But let's go to our man, Big Mo's best look on the main card.
I think the most obvious, so I'll give you just 2. You know what I'm saying? Just real quick, we got Mike Perry. If I got to pick one, Mike Perry inside the distance. He's finishing Gall. You know, if you want to sprinkle round 2, round 3 to get it real spicy, he's going to finish Gall. But if you want to throw a little parlay piece, I think Woodson's the future. I think Woods is going to come out, put on a lot of volume, going to put on a show. You know, I know his odds are going to be crazy, but maybe throw, you know what? Hey, no. As I was saying that line's not out. Boom, Clint's right. It's probably going to be like minus 800. Not going to get enough juice on it in case it messes up. Hey, just Mike Perry inside the distance.
Okay. All righty. There, Mike Perry inside the distance. Diamond Poirier inside the distance from our Boston Nick, and Clint over 2.5 in the main event. So Matthew S. said, give us a lock on this card if you had a free $1,000 to put on one fighter to win.
Can we do this together? Can we come up with this together maybe? What do you want to do?
No, one fighter is what Matthew S. wanted to hear. $1,000 on one fighter to win. Not an easy question because there are, you know, do you want to put $1,000 on a minus 300 or 400 favorite? I mean, that'll be up to your gambling decisions from our great cappers here on odds.com's breakdown of UFC Fight Night Vegas 4. And Prince of the City Woodson's opponent is Yakima's finest, and that's tough. Yakima is just littered with superstar after superstar. Yakima's finest. Julian Juicy J Rosa, Prince of the City. That's who Woodson's fighting. Julian Juicy J Rosa. All right. If you had $1,000 to bet on one fighter, this question coming to us from Matthew S. $1,000 to put on one fighter to win, preliminary card or main card, whom would it be? Let's go with our man Clint, start the Die Hard MMA podcast first. $1,000, one fighter, who would it be?
Don't you say it. Don't you say it.
I mean, if I only get to $1,000 and I got to play it straight on somebody, Jimmy.
Don't you say it.
I'm going to head on back to the preliminary card.
Don't say it.
He's going.
If I got to take a shot at it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to double down on my best bet for the main card and say, turn that grand into 2,200. Roll the dice on the big dog that's got an opportunity to knock his opponent out, has a great shot at winning the fight. I would take my shot. I will stand. I will plant my flag. I'm rolling with Commonworthy.
Wow.
You know I'm going with.
Wow. A big dog there. I'm sure that has my man Matthew S. going, holy shit. All right. Big Mo, $1,000 on one fighter to win. Who would it be?
You know, you could throw it on, a pretty big favorite, just, make you a little bit of profit, but that's not what we're here for. It's called gambling for a reason, brother. I'm taking Daukaus for that submission. Ooh. Let's go ahead and throw that juice on it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we would make on that, but wow. I think Daukaus is going to win. I think he is better in the grappling department. And just like my man Clint said, I think he's going to roll into maybe like an arm triangle, something of that nature. I see him smashing it.
Wow. First two looks with a G are making big dog bets. That's incredible. Nick, now the pressure's on because these guys are on big dogs. Man.
Nick's going Woodson.
It's a law.
I could have stolen it, Nick. I could have stolen it.
I know. I thought you were going to, bro. I really did. I thought you were going to get me right in the old gooch. But yeah, it's Zalal. I mean, I locked him in at plus 105. You can get him at minus 115-ish right around now. Yeah, right on that. Yeah, give or take a few, even a little bit less in some books. But yeah, I like Zalal here to win straight.
Wow. That's very, very interesting. So all of our cappers on not putting that $1,000 on any big favorites Nick on Zalal. And then we have Clint on Worthy and Big Mo on Daukaus.
Jimmy, can I just say,
yeah,
one of the reasons why I love rocking these dogs on these low-level cards is the lines are always inflated. They're always way too wide. There's tons of value on these underdogs. People just don't realize when it comes to fighting. You're locking a couple of human beings in a cage, and only one of them gets to walk out with that money. They're fighting tooth and nail for it. And when you've got a favorite who's like minus 125, and people go, oh, hey, that's the right side. And then everybody else piles on. And now that favorite is minus 200. There's so much opportunity on these big, juicy dog lines. And we had 7 underdogs come through last weekend. The dogs are barking, folks.
Yep.
I like it. I like it. Clint, you have a big week ahead of you. Can you let our guys, the cappers, great cappers in the chat, know what your plans are for the rest of the week?
So I will be filming my Total Madness show where I go over the overs and unders of this entire fight card, 1.5 rounds, 2.5 rounds, and I will break the card down again, giving you my leans as to which way I think it's going to go, if we can find any additional bets or action for y'all. And then on Friday, right after I sit my butt down and watch those weigh-ins happen, I will do my weigh-in recap show. This will be the 3rd time I've done that show, and Jimmy, we have pointed out 2 massive upsets in the last couple of weeks based on that weigh-in show. I've been able to spot a couple fighters that have looked just absolutely awful, and we've made money fading them because of it. That'll be out on Friday, so make sure you keep an eye out for both of those, and as always, let's roll.
I love it. I love it. Big Mo, you and Nick are up to big things this week. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a little taste, and I'll let old Nicholas give you a little taste. So Fridays, we do this show called The Final Weigh-In, kind of what my man Clint does, but we're going to do it later in the evening. Hey, are you doing it in the morning or in the evening? You doing it in the morning weigh-ins or the afternoon weigh-ins? Or is there an afternoon weigh-ins right
It's
now?
just the morning weigh-ins, but I do it like I do it like at lunch, like right after the weigh-ins are over. I put my thoughts down real quick. It's short, it's compressed. These boys break it down a whole lot more in depth and go live to hang out with y'all. So you get a little taste of both worlds with both our shows.
Yeah. Friday, we're bringing somebody new on. A lot of people might know him. A lot of people might not. MMA Prediction Guru. Go check his YouTube channel out. Great at breaking down picks. Super analytic. Super just detailed. Place big money on. He's kind of the one that got me start thinking about Daukaus. And then he started talking. I started digging into it, and I like what I saw. But he's jumping on the odds team. He'll be with us Friday. Saturday, these fights we're talking about, we're going to be watching them live right here, all right? And what we do, we live bet the whole time. We're talking overs, unders, parlays. Should we take them? Let's get this in before this, that, the third. We've had 255 live people in here tonight. Super shout out to every single one of y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere on this Tuesday, but y'all are rocking with us here on Odds. But, hey, those 255 people, we're going to be here Friday, Saturday as well. You got Clint shows. So, hey, y'all show up, show out. Let's make some money. I don't know what Nicholas wants to add on to it. He has.
I do have some add on, actually. I do.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't give it all away, Nicholas. So,
just got final confirmation. Jared Gordon will be joining us live 4:30 for the pre-show before the fight, as we roll into the main card to interview him on his fight night against Chris Fishgold. So. That being said, hope you guys tune in. Jared Gordon's a kick-ass dude, and we're gonna break it down a little bit on this fight on Fight Island.
And I know a lot of y'all know how the bag rolls. The bag rolls 6, 7, 8, 17 hours. We do the same thing for that UFC card. Just like Nick said, 30 minutes before start time, we're rolling. Talking any final bets we want to lock in right there, but we're locking in bets all night. We're live betting this baby all night. You know, last week, your boy live betted Miss Robertson by submission. She got it with like 20-something seconds left. We made a nice little flip on that. So I know maybe we didn't throw out just, boom, this is how it's going. This is what we're betting because, guys, we got a long week ahead. We got to see what's going to happen on the scales. You never know. Mike Perry might go off the rocker crazy. So we got to watch all that stuff. Then we'll put it together Friday, Saturday. Hope to see y'all there.
Nelson just pulled out, so you know what I mean. Joey DeRosa just filled in. These are the things we gotta look at. In that
I learned that right now. Like
You know
I
what I
just learned that, and I had to get on the fly. But Juicy J sucks so bad.
Pretty easy. And then we head over to Fight Island. So we're gonna have giant weeks of shows at Fight Island. Very exciting. And my old flame Rose is fighting. I was so in love with her until Pete Loshak said that means you're in love with River Phoenix, and then I could no longer find any.
Ruined it.
I could no longer find any.
Told you.
He ruined it. We have nothing without these great cappers in the chat. Thank you guys so much for rolling with us. Your insights are so spectacular, so sharp. Give a big shout out Leo Leon, Zippy Like Zippers, Omar Darwood, Connor McLaughlin, Timothy Topher, Eric Roberts, Sports Gambling Daily, Oscar Gutierrez, Valverde, Matthew S., Gabriel Killian, Timothy Topher, F. Carrillo, Just My 2 Cents, Cynthia Paniagua, Eric Roberts, Game Day, Stephen H. Green, Prince of the City, Mark Unkefer, Bob Taylor, Genova, Quincy Brown, Jeff D., Scott C., all you guys, Tank Abbott, Quincy Brown, MMA Locker Room, Brandon Williams, Newbie YT. Thank you guys so much for your insights and your humor, and you guys make this fun. So a big thank you on behalf of these incredible cappers in the chat, whom you can see all week breaking down this UFC card. Big Mo, thank you so much. Boston Nick, my man, thank you. Clint Starr, the Die Hard MMA podcast, thank you so much. Please subscribe to our YouTube page right here. Follow us on Twitter, odds110. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and thank you. Check us out, odds.com, and get paid on Saturday night. That's the most important thing. Get that cash. See you guys for the rest of the week. Much love. Oh.